on, Arya, a wholly owned subsidiary of GPS Renewables, a full-stack biofuels firm, has raised 100 crore rupees of mezzanine financing from InCred Opportunities Fund and Spark Capital. The fresh capital will be utilized to develop the compressed biogas projects under its joint ventures with the Indian Oil Corporation and Bharat Petroleum. Joining us now to discuss this further is Menak Chakraborty, the co-founder and CEO of GPS Renewables, and also with me, my colleague Shruti. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Menak. First up, Arya, which is the product development arm of GPS Renewables, has raised this 100 crore rupees in mezzanine funding, which is actually a part of a larger round that you're looking at, right? So how soon do you hope to close the round, and how do you plan to deploy these funds?
So yes, it's a part of a larger round at Arya. We are raising 200 crores. We should be closing the balance 100 crores in a few days. Possibly in the next 2 weeks. We already have the commitments in place. And it is a part of a larger $100 million round that we are raising across various levels. So we are raising 25 million at the top co, which is GPS Renewables. Below that, we have something called Arya, which is our umbrella arm for project development. We are raising around $25 million, which is roughly around 200 crores. And as I mentioned, we should be closing it in the next 2 weeks. 100 CR is already done with InCred and Spark. And apart from that, we are raising another $50 million. Below that, for our JVs with IOCL, BPCL, and so on, of which around $30 million of term sheets are already signed.
All right, Menak, this is Shruti quickly stepping in. Like you just mentioned, the funds will be used to develop compressed biogas projects under joint ventures with IOC and BPCL. Can you elaborate on what exactly Arya does, the key products on offer, and the efficiencies that you're trying to create via this vertical?
Right. So Arya is a project developer like any other renewable company in the solar or the wind space. Here we are in the business of setting up primarily compressed biogas projects. In particular, we have been successful in forming 50-50 joint ventures with the largest oil marketing companies of India, such as IOCL. That JV is already in place. Our joint venture with BPCL has been approved, and same is the case of our joint venture with Oil India as well. Through these joint ventures, in the next 1 to 2 years, we will be setting up at least 50 compressed biogas projects, and in the next 2 to 3 years, possibly up to 200 compressed biogas projects. We are talking about a potential capital outlay of around $3 billion. That is what we'll be doing in the next few years.
So potential capital outlay of $3 billion. Arya was sort of founded with an aim to help India achieve its net zero target. It sort of incubates, develops and operates climate positive projects like you just explained, with GPS Renewables as the execution partner. If you could sort of take us through the other kind of projects that you're working on, any new, offerings on the anvil?
Absolutely. So we started off with, biogas, and that is something which is extremely, integral to India's net zero ambition. Not just that, as a country, it's extremely important from let's say, a geopolitical perspective as well, because we believe biogas can play an important role in making India energy independent, and that is why that's not only our focus, but that in a way that's a focus of the government. Talking about future avenues, we have already started taking our baby steps towards sustainable aviation fuel. We believe that's going to be a very important part of the whole climate puzzle. As globally speaking, we already have a conditional commitment of around $200 million from a Dubai-based fund called SAF1, and we have already started taking the baby steps toward that. Hopefully, we should be able to do for SAF what we have been able to do for biogas. That is making biogas in India the cheapest, molecule anywhere in the world.
All right, Menak. Over the next year, I believe your focus will be on expanding your capacity and strengthening partnerships with key players. While you've taken us through your offerings and the key partnerships, if you could take us through your expansion plan, what new capacities are we talking about?
So as I mentioned, in the near term, the growth, vehicle is going to be Arya and the joint ventures which we have been successful in forming. So the focus is on compressed biogas. That would be the primary focus for the next, 2 to 3 years. Post that, we would be looking at downstream molecules, which would be sustainable aviation fuel. That we have a much larger vision around that. the kind of vision we are building is for around $5 billion. And we have already started taking, the necessary steps towards that. What we see today is kind of a reflection of the way the whole biofuel market is growing in India, which has been on a kind of a hockey stick growth, and we have been kind of fortunate to be a part of that journey. But yeah, that's what's that's a peak at what we have been up to, so to say.
Absolutely. So big expansion plans there as well. But if you could sort of take us through the kind of revenues GPS Renewables is currently making and the kind of targets you've set for this year, and how big of a role does Arya play when it comes to the larger business?
Sure. So last year, FY24, we closed at 460 crores with an EBIT of roughly around 60 crores. We have always been profitable. We have been in a sector, where we did not have a choice but to be profitable. So last year, we closed at just under 500 crores. This year, we expect to do a minimum of 1,200 crores of revenue, and we aim to maintain similar profitability levels. As for the future is concerned, there are too many moving pieces, but we believe, we should be able to maintain the same trajectory that we have been seeing in the last few years. That's in terms of, the kind of the growth that we have seen and what we have been able to, achieve.
Okay. All right, Manak, with that, it's time for us to wrap up this conversation. Many thanks for joining us on Startup Street today, and wish you the very best with all your growth plans.
Thank you. Pleasure.